everybody. So Layla is still on fall break, so she's with me today. And we're going to be I'm going to be telling some embarrassing stories. Layla said she didn't really have any. I have lots, and they all involve boys that I had crushes on. So this is going to be really funny. Layla wants to introduce somebody first.
It's Stripes.
It's Stripes, her little tiger. He's so cute.
I had her for a long time.
Yeah, since you were very little. Okay, so we're going to start with a little tiny scripture, and this is in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and it talks about how there's a time and a season for everything. You want to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
A time to weep, and a time to laugh, and a time to mourn, and a time to dance.
That's right. So today it's a time to laugh, so we're going to tell some funny stories. Okay, so this first story happened to me when I was your age, Layla. I was in the 3rd grade. I was 8 years old, and I had a crush on this boy named Scott. I thought he was very cute, and I just really, really liked him. Okay, so in my elementary school, our school was really, really neat because we took on all of the kids that had like disabilities and handicaps and things throughout the city. So the government gave our elementary school a lot of money, and we had a swimming pool for to do like physical therapy and things like that. And then there was like a downstairs part of the school, and it had its own apartment. So even teenagers and things that had some developmental delays, they taught them how to do things, how to cook and clean, and so that they could be independent. So it was just really a wonderful school to go to. But anyway, so every year we would have a pool party. All the grades in the school had a pool party, and that was the only time that we were able to get into the swimming pool. And so we would change our clothes and then put our change of clothes in a plastic bag and then stick them in our desks while we went swimming. And so, oh my gosh, I still remember this. So I leave my change of clothes in the desk, and I go swimming. I'm having a great time. And then I come back, and there was pizza and a movie, and we just kind of rotated through classes. And I get back, and my friend is like, "Oh my gosh, Beth, you are never going to believe what Scott did." And I'm like, "What? What did he do?" "He got into your desk, pulled out your clothes, and pulled out your Cabbage Patch Kid underwear and started parading them around the whole classroom, yelling, 'I've got Beth's sticky underwear,' in front of the whole..." Isn't that horrible? I was like, "What?" And the teacher caught him, and he got in trouble, and like she put him back in your desk, and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Oh my gosh, I was so mortified. So, isn't that so embarrassing? Can you imagine like your whole class seeing your underwear? Wouldn't that be just horrible? That would be horrible. Yeah, it was just awful. So after that, I did not have a crush on Scott anymore. I was like, "You are Feliz Navidad to me." Remember that? That's from Phineas and Ferb. I love Phineas and Ferb. We watch a lot of Phineas and Ferb.
My hair looks so dark in the video.
It does, yeah.
Maybe because all the lights are off.
Yeah, we're trying to block Jax, our puppy, from seeing outside because he will bark at everything that's out there. Anyway, so that's the first story. Really, really funny. Funny times. Okay, so this next story, oh my gosh. Okay, this next story involves a kid. This boy's name was Kevin O'Brien. And I typically don't say last names, but whenever I think of Kevin, I gotta say Kevin O'Brien. I had a major crush on him. We were in 2nd grade together in Mrs. Habermill's class. Okay, hold on, I gotta take that toy. Okay, sorry about that. Our dog was chewing on a toy, and it was very, very loud. Anyways, so Kevin O'Brien was in Mrs. Habermill's class, and we sat next to each other, and I had a major crush on him from the time that I was 7 years old all the way up in through high school. I just had major crush on him. Okay, so during the end of the school year, every year we would have something called Disney Day, and we would put on a play, like a musical, and we would sing Disney songs from movies, right? And so I can remember in the 3rd grade, all of the popular girls came to school, and they had taken black eyeliner and made a little mouse nose and little black whiskers on their faces, and they came to school. All the popular girls did that, okay? And I was like, oh, that's so fun. That's so cute. So the next year in the 4th grade, I thought, oh, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. That's going to be so cool. And so I had my mom draw like a mouse face on me. I get to school, and guess what? I was the only one. I go to school and I'm the only one with a nose and whiskers on my face. I was so embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I was so embarrassed, trying to be like one of the cool girls, like one of the popular girls, and I failed miserably, like always. Anyways, so kids were looking at me like, what is she doing? Why does she have mouse face on and all this stuff? I was just so embarrassed. And so I wore it like all morning long up until lunch. And silly me, like I was a lot like you, Layla. I was very quiet and shy at school. And I didn't think to ask the teacher, can I go to the bathroom real quick? Because she would always say, well, is it an emergency? Because we would have bathroom breaks, so you couldn't go unless it was an emergency. And if I said it was an emergency, that would be lying. So I was just like you. I was a rule follower. So I didn't do that. Okay, so this is where it gets good. So then where it's time for lunch and we're lining up, and we all go to the bathroom first, and we wash our hands, and then we go to lunch. So I remember being in the bathroom stall downstairs right in front of the cafeteria, and I was in the stall and I'm waiting for all of the girls to leave the bathroom. So I'm watching like the crack of the door, and all the girls leave, and I go out there and I'm like scrubbing this eyeliner off my face, trying to get this mouse face off because I'm so embarrassed that I'm the only girl that looks like a mouse. So I'm scrubbing it, and black eyeliner is hard to get off, but I finally get it all off. I walk out of the bathroom. I'm the only girl around. Everybody else is already like lined up to go eat lunch. And as I'm walking down the hallway coming towards me, guess who it is? Kevin O'Brien. And he comes up to me and he's like, Beth, why did you wipe your mouse face off? I thought it was cute. I was like, what? Oh, be still my heart. Did Kevin O'Brien just call me cute? Like, he was so popular and so like, oh my gosh, I just remember like I just wanted to die. And I'll never forget that. Isn't that funny? Can you imagine a boy calling you cute? Like, oh my gosh. Anyways, it was just like the most popular, cutest boy. Oh, bless his heart. Anyway, so that's really funny. Okay. So the last story that I'm going to share is, it involved another crush. His name was David. I'm friends with him on Facebook. So I don't know, maybe I'll put it on Facebook and tag him in it just for fun. But, so we lived in apartments, and, across the street lived David and Craig. And then me and my best friend, we lived on the other side of the street. So, and we were all in the 6th grade together. We were 12 years old. And they were like my best memories of my childhood are with these kids. And so anyway, so Craig, oh my gosh, I just love that kid. Like he was just so adorable and so sweet and kind. And, girls, as you get older, girls get very catty, right? So whenever I was having a problem with my best friend, I would go to Craig and I would talk to him. And he was like a brother to me. He was just so, I just loved him. He was just so wonderful. Anyway, so Craig and David were best friends. Now David, oh my gosh, did I have a crush on this boy? Oh my gosh, did I have a crush? David made me think, I was like, Kevin O'Who? Like that's, like when I met David, it was just like, oh my goodness. I mean, I still had a crush on Kevin all the way through high school. But I met David, and David he was a little bit of a bad boy. a little bit of a bad boy. And I was so good and so quiet. And so it's just kind of funny how, anyways. So I will never forget this. So Craig and I were really good friends, and I would go to him and talk to him about things, and I trusted him. But this one day, he betrayed me. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Okay, so Craig comes and knocks on my door, and he's like, hey, Beth, like, come here, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. So we go to like the other side of the apartments, like on the end, and there was a hill and some bushes, and there was nothing around, and then there was the street. So we're over there and we're chatting, and I'm like, what's going on? And he says, he's like, so, what do you think about David? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm playing it off, right? Like, I don't want to tell his best friend that I have a crush on him. So I'm like, I don't know. What are you talking about? And Craig's like, I know you like him. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't like him. Ew, gross. And he's like, Beth, like, everybody knows you like David. Everybody knows you've got a crush on him. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And so then he says to me, well, David likes you. I'm like, whatever. No, he doesn't. There's no way. Whatever. He likes Misty. I already know. And Craig's like, nope. He likes you now. They broke up and he likes you. And I'm like, oh, whatever. There's no way. He's like, yeah, he does. And he wants to go with you. So that means that he wanted to be my boyfriend. That's what they called it back in those days. They might still call it that. I don't know. But they called it like you were going together. That meant you're a boyfriend or girlfriend. I know. It sounds so gross. But in a few years, you're going to be like, Mom, I know exactly what you meant when you were talking about Kevin O'Brien and David and Scott. Anyways, okay. So Craig is telling me that, David wants to be my boyfriend and he wants to go with me. And I didn't believe it. I'm like, whatever. And he just was like, Beth, I'm not kidding. Would I lie to you? And so I trusted Craig. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. He's like, so, would you? Like, if he asked you to go with you, would you? Do you like him? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have liked that boy for so long. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And I start just gushing over David, just pouring my heart out to Craig about how much I like this kid. And then after I say all of these embarrassing things, somebody jumps out from behind the bushes and goes, roar! Guess who it was? No. It was David. He was standing there behind the bushes the whole time, listening to every word that I was saying about how cute he was and how long I had liked him. Oh my gosh. I was so embarrassed. I screamed. I took off running back to my apartment, and I slammed the door and I ran upstairs to my bed and I just cried and cried and cried. I was so embarrassed. And I'm just laying on my bed crying. And then not too long after that, I don't know if it was like an hour or whatever, like some time had passed, and there was a knock at my door, and it was for me. And guess who it was? Mm-hmm. It was David. It was David. And I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, he asked me to come outside. And then guess what? What? He told me that he liked me and he wanted to go with me. And I'm like, I couldn't believe it, because I thought the whole time, they were just making it up. And at first I didn't believe him. I was like, yeah, right, whatever, David. Like, yeah, right. I know you like Misty, whatever. And maybe he did. Maybe he was just using me to make her jealous. I don't know, but so he was my first boyfriend. And, well, no, he was my second boyfriend. Nick was my first boyfriend, but I didn't really like him. But anyways, David was the first guy that I held hands with. Does that sound gross?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so it had a happy ending. But, oh my gosh, Craig and David. So I just had so much fun with them. And just one last story about David before I end this video. So I know that's kind of long, but if you've stuck out this far, you'll listen to the whole thing. So, we all moved away. We moved out of the apartment complex, and we didn't see each other for a really long time. And then my family, my dad and my brothers and I, we ended up moving back to our town And I started going to high school, and I was in literature class. It was Mrs. Winchill's class, I still remember. And I walked into the class, and guess who was there sitting in a desk in the front row? It was David. My first kid I held hands with, all that stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, David is in my class. Oh my gosh, like, how am I going to be able to breathe? And like, oh my gosh. So I came in and I sat down, and I was in the front row. David was in the second row, and he sat like diagonally, like right there, right in front of me, but diagonally. And so I would just sit there and watch him and stare at him. And he had no idea because he was in front of me. And oh my gosh, whenever, like if we had to do group things or anything, I would just get so nervous and my heart would just be pounding. I'm like, oh my gosh, David, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so this is the best. So, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to get emotional. Okay. So, like at that time, I was just so insecure, and I just, having the childhood that I'd had and grown up in, I just thought so like very, very little of myself. And, first of all, like, just so that you can kind of get a better idea of how I was, I never really looked at people in the eye. Like I just felt, I just had a very low self-esteem. So I'd always like go like this and just hide my face and wear my hair like this, and just, I wouldn't look at people. And one day I'd come in, and I was sitting in class, and it was before the bell rang, and David turns around in his seat, and he looks at me, and he says, Beth, why are you always hiding that beautiful face of yours? And I was like, oh my gosh, did David just call me beautiful? Oh my gosh. Like I just was, I mean, it just made me feel so good. And I know, David, you probably don't remember any of this, but I will never forget that. I'm sorry. Getting so emotional. Anyways, David and Craig, I just love you guys. You're such a wonderful part of my childhood. And, after we moved away, things just got really, really, really horrible for me, really bad. And you don't know any of this stuff. And you may not even hardly remember me. But I remember you, because when I think of my childhood, I think of you guys. And I'll just always love you guys. You'll always have a special place in my heart. And you guys are just, you're like brothers to me now. And even though we don't talk, like we're friends on Facebook, but I will never forget you guys. Anyways, so, and I see that you have families now, and I'm so happy for you. It makes me so happy to see that the two of you are so happy. So tell those women in your life, tell them how beautiful they are, and just tell them how blessed you are to have them. And for all the guys that are out there listening, never, ever, ever miss an opportunity to tell a woman that she's beautiful, because trust me, she needs to hear it. So, Layla, you're so beautiful.
Aww.
I know it. You really are, sweetie. And not just the outside. You're beautiful on the inside. Do you know why?
Why?
Because you're sweet and good and kind and
funny.
funny.
But in the inside, it looks.
Huh? Anyways. All right, that's it for our video today. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that we made you laugh. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.